Good evening, everyone. If you are in the chamber, if you could please keep talking to a minimum, because we're in a meeting. So if you'd like to talk to each other, if you could talk out in the hall. Hello, if you don't mind talking out in the hall instead of, and actually but Maria, you're allowed to. Thank you so much. If you don't mind calling the roll. Okay.
Adams. Anane.
Present.
Bowling. Brody.
Here.
Farrell.
Here.
Flynn. Hoey.
Present.
Johnson. Jones.
Present.
Keegan.
Here.
Lumpkin.
Present.
Powell.
Present.
Robinson. Williamson.
Present.
Zamer.
Here.
11 present. We're also joined by Council President Kelly Kimbrough, City Clerk Shaniqua Jackson, Senior Assistant Corporation Counsel Martha Mahoney, Legislative Director Brian Jimenez, Research Counsel Robert Wenner, Junior Legislative Aide Carly Johnson, and 9th Ward Intern Ariana Costello.
Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. This evening, we'll move through the agenda first. We're going to be taking two resolutions out of order. Right after we do the Pledge of Allegiance and the moment of silence, we will then move to taking Councilmember Johnson's Resolution 294226R out of order, which is recognizing CBA and their remarkable win at the state championship game. We are all co-sponsors on that. We will then be taking Councilmember Powell's Resolution 304226R out of order, memorializing the 70th season of Westland Hills baseball and softball. We're also all co-sponsors on that. So we'll be doing voice votes for both of those. Then we will move into public comment. From there, in local laws held, Councilmember Hoey's Local Law F of 2026. Councilmember Hoey will be doing a motion to withdraw that legislation. Next, Councilmember Hoey's Local Law G of 2026. We'll be voting on that. Would you like to say anything on either of those, Councilmember Hoey?
Yeah, we would like to do G first and see if it passes, and then we'll withdraw F, if that's okay. Thank you.
So we will be taking those out of order. If everyone can note that, especially Mr. President. Next, in ordinances introduced, Councilmember Keegan's Ordinance 84226 will go to planning. Would you like to say anything on that this evening, Councilmember Keegan?
Sure. As many of you know, my illustrious intern from Albany, Ariana Costello, has been working with me for a little over 6 months on updating our Complete Streets Ordinance with a focus on incorporating elements of the Generating Resilient and Environmentally Exceptional Streets Act, which is before Congress. This would hopefully bring additional compliance with what was originally intended by the Complete Streets policy, as well as add a green streets component to help mitigate climate change and return green space to communities that have been denied or had their green space removed. So we are hoping to work through that in the next month or so with the administration and Department of Engineering. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Councilmember Hoey's Ordinance 94226, which will also go to planning. Would you like to speak?
Sure, just briefly, I did speak on this at our caucus meeting last week, and I did send out to the full council some videos from YouTube explaining the cottage court, bungalow court concept and why it might fit into our city's planning. So I would appreciate If you didn't get it, let me know, and I'll resend it, but it's a good way to see what exactly other cities are doing to provide affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hoey. An ordinance is held. We have Councilmember Ballerin's Ordinance 53126, which is the amendment to the inclusionary zoning law. Would you like to, we will be voting on that this evening. Would you like to say anything on that, Mr. Ballerin?
Thank you, Madam President. We have come to this agreement after long and back and forth conversations, I'm very appreciative, like I've said it many times, to everyone who's been willing to have these very difficult conversations. I know it is not a day for celebration for all of us, and I appreciate that, and I acknowledge that. But I also want to acknowledge the work that's been done to try to get us to a better path forward, especially based on some of the environments that we are in and the different potential outcomes that we could be seeing today. But that does not take away from anyone's effort and anyone to work on this issue, and I thank everyone who's been a part of it. But I do ask that my members move forward with this today, and that we move it forward and create some stability on this issue. I'll speak more on it with giving especially new members some history on this, because there's a lot of history on this even before my time on the council. So I'll do that for when the bill comes for a vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ballerin. And resolutions introduced from Councilmember Lumpkin, Resolution 284226R, which will honor the life and legacy of Mother Clara Lumpkin and renaming a portion of South Swan in her honor. That will go to General Services. We will be, as I've noted, we'll be taking Councilmember Johnson's resolution for CBA and Councilmember Powell's resolution for Westland Hills out of order before public comment. Councilmember Johnson, I just want to confirm that that still works for anybody coming to take that legislation out of order.
I believe that's the expectation, that they're going to be here, and I would be happy with us going out of order.
Excellent. Well, we will plan to take it before public comment, because we do have quite a few people signed up for public comment tonight. And if anything happens with that, then we can certainly shift, because we're excited about honoring them. So next, Councilmember Anani's resolution 314226R to commemorate Earth Day, that we are all co-sponsors on, so that will be a voice vote. Next, we have Councilmember Williamson's resolution 324226R, which is to honor the life and legacy of Reverend Reginald Graham and renaming a portion of 2nd Avenue in his honor. That will go to General Services. And from Councilmember Anane, resolution 334226R, a resolution authorizing the City of Albany to adopt a policy related to the disposal of computers, computer software, and computer equipment. That will go to General Services. Everything else will be held. I don't know if any council members have anything that they wanted to discuss or bring up. Councilmember Brody?
Something fun to put on everybody's calendars. Champagne on the Park was the event that usually kicked off the Tulip Festival, the Tulip Fest in Washington Park every year, that Thursday before Mother's Day. This year, Lark Hall has graciously offered to move it indoors and into their incredible historic facility right on Lark Street. So Thursday evening on May 7th, I would love to encourage any of my council members and staff to go. It's going to be a fundraiser as well, as is historically the event. The ticket will include all the food and beverages for the evening, and the beneficiary is going to be in our own voices. So it's going to be a fun evening and much more accessible than some of the other more formal events. So would love to see you all there. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Councilmember Hoey?
Thank you, President Pro Tem. I sent out, or I had Carly send out to all the Public Safety Committee members, we had 12 applications for the Community Police Review Board, and so we're setting up interviews right now. So over the next few weeks, we're going to be doing interviews. If any member of the council knows of people that live in your ward or even outside your ward, but they need to be in the city and they can't be a policeman, that you think would be good to serve on the Community Police Review Board, please let us know and we'll get them the application, information, what they need to do. And we'd like to, consider as many people as we can. We are down, our council seats, we're down to 4 that we need to fill. So any help at all that you can do, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Anyone else? I just wanted to note, and Councilmember Keegan, I don't know if you wanted to speak about this, but we are planning on having the Finance Committee meeting on Wednesday.
Yes, and I was able to confirm with Richard that he is available to come in on the 29th. Conti?
Because of the in-depth nature of the budget, we're also providing substantive information from within the council. So we are planning on having the meetings. And with that, if there's nothing else, we'll be back in 12 minutes. Thank you.
Can mem- Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Welcome to the Monday, April 20th meeting of the Albany Common Council. Will you please, well, roll call.
Adams.
Present.
Anani.
Present.
Valoran.
Here.
Brody.
Present.
Farrell.
Here.
Flynn. Hoey.
Present?
Johnson.
Present.
Jones.
Present.
Keegan.
Here.
Lumpkin.
Present.
Powell.
Present.
Robinson.
Here.
Williamson.
Present.
Zamer.
Present.
14 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. Okay, will members please, and the public please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated. If we're going to have folks out there talking in the hall, we're going to have to close the door. Okay. Ms. Farrell?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to take Resolution 294226R and Resolution 304226R out of order.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. You ready, Mr. Johnson? No? Okay. Okay. All right. So, Ms. Powell?
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that Resolution 942, I'm sorry. What? Sorry. I ask that Resolution 29,
30.
sorry, threw me off. I ask that Resolution 304226R be read and a vote be called.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
A resolution of the Common Council celebrating the 70th season of the Westland Hills baseball and softball.
Okay. Ms. Powell? Discussion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I was just wondering if we could get the Westland Hills, there's a bunch of Westland Hills folks in the hallway, so I just wanted to invite them in before we do this whole thing without them. Just for a second. We need you. Thank you very much. I apologize for the disruption. So I put forward this resolution to celebrate Westland Hills' 70th anniversary. Obviously, the park has been open since 1956 in the 12th ward the entire time. I just want to recognize all of those for their hard work. Obviously, nothing happens by happenstance and survives for 70 years. So there's a ton of people here tonight and kids that work hard and play hard all season to make our park a success. I just want to say that we understand that Westland Hills is an inner city league, and we like to provide as many opportunities as possible for kids to play on scholarship and come and play at the park and have a positive experience playing youth sports. So our president is here, Dan Farrell. A ton of coaches and board members are here, and a bunch of kids to celebrate with us tonight. Our opening day is this Saturday. We have a parade like we have for many years from Colvin and Lincoln Ave, down Lincoln, around the corner through, and then we enter the park on Austin. There will be a bunch of games played that day. We play till the middle of June, so all of you, we invite you as the park to come and join us and see a game, have a hot dog, and celebrate our 70th anniversary with us. So, thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. Ms. Farrell?
I think baseball and softball leagues throughout the city are incredibly important, and I very much appreciate Councilmember Powell bringing this up, but I will say Westland Hills is very near and dear to my heart because all three of my kids went through Westland Hills baseball, and my daughter went through baseball and then softball, and spent a lot of time in the concession stand. I highly recommend many things there. I usually stocked drinks, which I was really good at. But it is absolutely a labor of love for every single field, and I know that my kids learned so much, not just about sports, but about how to be with other people, how to be on a team, how to be part of a community. And they also were able to just be kids. Like some of their best moments were not necessarily even at their own game. It was at a friend's game to watch their friends play, or when they were playing with each other and doing a pickup league in like the grasshopper team when their younger sibling was playing. So those are the moments that I think really create some of the best community throughout the city. So incredibly grateful to all of our leagues, but especially Westland Hills. Thank you all so much for your dedication.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes, I just want to say congratulations on 70 years. I was a part of the conversation last week talking about my own experience and others' experience playing in American Little League. And I just say to the young boys and girls, you don't know how important this time is right now. God willing, you get to make it to your 50s and 60s. It's a great conversation to talk about days like this. So, you know, to the parents that's involved, to the community that comes out, it's a lot of things that happen and when Little League season is over. And one of the things that one of the thoughts that I had as an adult is, why is Little League season so short? And it seems like it ends just when the summer begins. But you know, I'll take my hats off to you because you still have a strong, thriving program, as many of the other Little League in the city have dissolved and, you know, pushed people in different directions. So keep what you have going, because when it's gone, it's missed. Great job, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Ballerin?
Thank you. I just want to echo the comments from my colleagues. I want to thank all the board members, all the volunteers, all the coaches, all of the parents that help out, all of the kids that do the program, everyone who makes it possible year after year to continue to have this asset in our community. Because if it's your work that makes it so that our kids can play in these fields, can learn how to interact, how to socialize, how to lose, which is a good lesson that you need to learn sometimes, on how to lose well, and how to build friends, and how to win, and how to, you know, play in the dirt. My son plays in the dirt sometimes, but how to have fun. And if it wasn't because of all of the volunteers of your organizations, these kids wouldn't get those opportunities for growth and those memories and friendships that they'll make for many years beyond. So thank you for all of your work. I know it's not easy. I know that it's not just making sure the fields are taken care of, making sure you have coaches, making sure you have sponsors. It's also making sure you have resources and fundraising. And know from the bottom of my heart and from this council, we appreciate your work. We see it, and we thank you for it.
Thank you, Mr. Holy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say to all of you, you're our future. We're proud of you. Keep going the way you're going. Thank you.
Okay, any further? Seeing none? You're all co-sponsors, so we'll do a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. So. We're gonna. Okay, so back on the agenda, we'll wait on Mr. Johnson's resolution. So we'll jump back into the agenda to public comment. Okay. Okay, yeah, so turn that off. Thank you. Welcome to our public comment. You have 3 minutes to talk about or speak up on any topic you wish. During the public comment, members cannot engage, so it's us receiving public comment from you. When you take a seat, you'll have 3 minutes. Give your name and address, and we'll get going. Thank you.
Our first speaker is Gabriel Silva.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Gabriel Silva. I live in the Pine Hills neighborhood, Ward 10, and I'm president of the board of United Tenants of Albany, and I'm also here with Citizen Action of New York. I'm here today in support of Albany's inclusionary zoning policy. I'm not a housing expert. I'll leave the statistics and the debate over what spurs development to others with a better grasp of the situation. I'll just say that the fact is inclusionary zoning is good for affordable housing. I'm here to ask that as you consider the facts and deal with all the figures, the percentiles, the AMIs, and the details, that you don't lose sight of the human piece of the equation. At the end of the day, we are deciding whether or not Albany remains affordable for regular, everyday people. It seems as if the current thinking is that we need to build our way out of a budget crisis. Therefore, the thinking goes, we need to make it as easy and attractive as possible for developers to come into Albany rather than Troy or Schenectady to build the housing we need. Can you all hear me? Is it kind of weird? Yeah, okay, just making sure. Yeah, is that better? Okay, thank you. So we think that we need to go to developers to come into Albany rather than Troy or Schenectady to build the housing we need. That line of thinking locks us into a race to the bottom with the rest of the capital region, where we are competing to see who can throw tenants and regular people under the bus faster and harder than the other in favor of giving the developers what they want. Looking to developers to deliver us from our wolves is like looking to the wolf to protect our herd. The pursuit of profit will not lower rents in Albany. It will only increase them. It is your job as the Common Council to protect the supply of affordable housing and inclusionary zoning in one of the best, and inclusionary zoning is one of the best and frankly one of the only tools the city has to ensure that folks have low-cost housing options available to them. If the council decides today to end IZ as we know it, I at least wanted to come with a commitment that the council will work with our communities and groups that serve them, like UTA, Housing for All, Citizen Action, and tenant unions, to identify and pass common sense housing solutions so Albany can be a home for everyone. Last, I just also wanted to speak in favor of the Office of Violence Prevention and that the city ask that the city work with We Are Revolutionary to make that happen. So thank you and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Timothy Sigrist.
This might be the elephant in the room, but I do give deference to your hard work in this thing, and you don't always get.
Sir, can you just start by stating your name?
I'm talking about the inclusionary housing issue.
Your name.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tim Sigrist. I live in Albany on New Scotland. Thank you. First, I would like to talk about why inclusionary housing. It reduces socioeconomic segregation. It gives families access to better schools, jobs, and services. It helps prevent the concentration of poverty. Children, research shows, achieve better results in school. It also reduces stress and improves mental health. Essential workers can afford to live near their jobs, reducing commutes and traffic. I know you know this. I know you know that stuff. Second, I want to talk about this inclusionary housing. It works. First, it works where developers' profit margins are high, in high-growth cities. I don't know what you think Albany is, but that's an issue. Weaker markets stall construction. Haven't we found that out? Weaker markets stall construction. And I know you can think of the reasons for that. But it works in New Jersey. Republicans in the Supreme Court looked at the Constitution and said, you have to provide affordable housing. It says it in our Constitution. So, a law was signed by the Republican governor, Tom Keene. It's a Fair Housing Act. Affordable housing was a constitutional right. So it started in the courts, not among legislators, in the courts. Now, and I know you found this out, it works better when it's part of a broader strategy that includes direct subsidy and regional planning. And that's a struggle for you.
So your time's up?
I got a little bit more. Okay, now, this is easy.
We don't have time for a little bit more, sir.
Okay.
My apologies.
Well, I didn't want to talk about the compromise because it's awful. Okay. But I respect what you're trying to do.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Bruce Pollock.
I would say to speakers, there's a timer on the table there. Mind the timer while you're speaking in that way. We'll run over.
Do I need to hit anything?
It doesn't start up.
All right. Good evening, everybody. I'm Bruce Pollock. I live in the Mansion neighborhood here in Albany. I'm actually here today to acknowledge the changes that y'all are proposing tonight for inclusionary zoning. While many of my colleagues and friends here are in opposition to these changes, I find myself more in the middle, actually. We have a lot of data that the city and independent agencies have given us that has shown that we are not building housing. We're not building enough of it. We're not building affordable housing, market rate housing, luxury housing, housing of all types. And this is a big problem. We here in Albany sit at a crossroads. We have a huge surplus of money coming in from the state to target and revitalize our communities, grow our businesses, grow our families and everything like that, provide for college students, provide for everything. But we can't do that unless we actually build housing for folks like me to afford. My neighbor over in the Mansion neighborhood, her rent's gone up $700 in 3 years, and she lives on Madison Place. She can afford to live there because she has a remote job in New York City. But for the rest of us who live here and work here, that's not tenable. And there are some really awesome programs that the state is proposing that would, unlock these changes, or not unlock these changes, excuse me, that would encourage affordable development with the changes that y'all are proposing today. I would like to use some of my time today to talk about some of those changes. Density bonuses, where we give developers an option to build additional units if they do build affordable units, are programs that have been successful across the country. Exploring items such as removing height restrictions in parts of the city that don't make sense. We have parts of our downtown where they're 3 stories and it's downtown, we have towers right next to them. Maybe taking a look at something like that. Easing the permitting process. Right now, the permitting process, while it's one of the cheapest in the capital region, it does take a long time just to get housing through that process, to get it out the door. And it takes a long time for businesses to get the permits they need to be successful as well. Additionally, we could opt into programs such as the vacant rental program, which allows developers to get funding to redevelop the red X buildings and then rent them back to tenants at 70% AMI for a period of 10 years, which would be cheaper than the changes that the inclusionary zoning is being proposed to for people, so it would be more affordable for folks. And then we could even opt into the governor's new program, AMP Up, to help electrify some of the larger buildings that, make electricity a little bit more expensive for others. I know tonight we're all supposed to be out here and we're supposed to be, angry about these changes or upset. I'm more resigned that they're happening, but I wanted to encourage the body tonight to not stop here. There are a plethora of affordable housing changes that are being proposed nationwide from cities like New Rochelle, Austin, Minneapolis, Portland, et cetera, that y'all should look into. Baltimore has incredible housing programs. So not only for the Office of Violence Prevention, which is an excellent program, but their housing programs are awesome too. And it's led to their revitalization of the riverfront and the port there as well. So I'll end with this. Keep up the good fight and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Eduardo Hernandez.
Hello, Council. My name is Eduardo Hernandez. I'm a resident of Albany. I live in the 6th Ward. I'm the lead organizer with Citizen Action of New York here in the Capital District, and a supporter of the work of United Tenants of Albany and Housing for All. I'm here tonight, along with many people in this room, to voice opposition to any changes to the inclusionary zoning laws that are currently in effect in Albany and which have been unfairly maligned as the reason for a lack of market rate housing being built in our city. The absence of housing development in Albany in the past couple of years is not due to the law that was enacted to ensure equity of housing opportunity across income levels. It is due to the result of developers not liking the law's requirements and intentionally abandoning new housing development in the city of Albany in hopes that doing so would prompt the council and mayor to roll back these protections. They effectively created the problem of lack of housing by not building under current inclusionary zoning law, and to solve the lack of housing development taking place, we turn to the developers who are holding back their services and ask them, what can we do to help you? That feels broken. Back in meetings in early January, housing developers were invited here to share their views, and unsurprisingly, they centered on a decrease in their profits as a reason they couldn't build here anymore, but they also shared some cringy insights as well. Inclusionary zoning allows for a mix of market rate and affordable housing within the same building and would foster socioeconomic diversity and reduce poverty concentrations in our city. Developers oppose this and note that they advocate for what they call integrated neighborhoods, which sounds like a compromise, but is effectively saying that racial and economic integration is for the city to figure out and in no way their responsibility. So they build and they make an economically segregated neighborhood all its own that isn't a part of the surrounding community. But they don't care about that because once it's built and the rents are flowing, those ancillary problems are for the city and its residents to deal with. They also admitted that with the increases they have to pay for labor, materials, and the impact of tariffs, inclusionary zoning is what they called a variable that they can control and they intend to. One developer said that if they could pay their workers less, they would. I find those statements to be grossly telling, and it makes me sick to hear inclusionary zoning described that way as the most manageable of their, quote, controllable costs. So here we are with many members of the council and our current mayor supported the original inclusionary zoning laws dating back to 2017, and now we're changing their minds. This is not a quick fix that I think that you hope it will be. For every capitulation made to money will inevitably lead to more, and that is not a sustainable way to move our city forward. My hope is that we take this step backwards, we use it to identify a way to recenter the people of the city over entities that only mean the profit from the people of this city.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Nancy Perini. Okay, thank you. Okay, next up is Keith Irish.
See how much of this I can get in 3 minutes. Good evening, members of the Common Council present tonight. As you know, my name is Keith Irish, a lifelong city resident currently residing in the 9th Ward. I am here tonight to comment on several issues that are all related to the Public Education Government Access Oversight Board, so please put your cell phones, tablets, and laptops down. First, let me start with your last meeting on April 6th, when there was Resolution 1632-26R, on the agenda. If you remember, I advised you to vote no on it, but only 2 of you did, and I thank those 2 that did vote no. However, before the official vote, 2 others of you spoke on the resolution. Those comments were about my comments, basically saying that I was lying, which for the benefit of the new council members, I was not. This has been an ongoing issue for years, yet hardly no one listens to me about the subject at hand. The PEG board needs to be restructured and condensed from its original form that was set up under Mayor Jerry Jennings. But you, the Common Council, would still have controlling interest in its operation and makeup. But you have not used that power since it was given to you by your predecessors. Next, I want to talk about the PEG board's meetings. When I attended the February 19th meeting, which was a week late to begin with, it was stated that the March meeting would be on the 19th, which again was also a week late. And at those 2 meetings, it was stated that the April meeting would be on the 9th, the correct week and day. The May meeting would be on the 28th, 2 weeks late again, and the June meeting on the 25th, once again 2 weeks late. Well, when I showed up for the April 9th PEG board meeting, there was no one there. The police officer that was in the rotunda said he was only aware of the CPRB meeting that was also being held that evening here in these chambers. As of your April 6th meeting, there was no posting to say that the April 9th meeting has changed. Yet when I attended the CPRB meeting out in your display case outside these chambers and nowhere else, there were 3 notices for the April, May, and June PEG board meetings, which showed the April meeting to be coming on Thursday the 23rd, not the 29th as it was stated at prior meetings. This is just one example of the mismanagement of the PEG board. The notices posted were the first ones since last fall, and including the agenda, which what there was of one. Prior, there had been no agenda postings going back to last summer. I believe a clear violation of the open meeting law. Several of the meetings have not been video recorded, and even when they are, meetings are not posted or shown on any of the 3 community media cable access channels, which are still being controlled and operated by Schenectady. I'm out of town.
Thank you, Mr. Irish.
Sorry.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Bishop Avery Comathere.
Good evening, Council. My name is Bishop Avery Comathere, pastor of the Elijah Missionary Church and founder of Pastors on Patrol. I wanted to address the Council because of the gun violence that has been occurring here in the city of Albany, especially recently. We started under Chief Hawkins, and because of political factors, it was sort of discarded. I'm not into politics, I'm into action and doing what is necessary to reduce the crime violence. We hit the streets. For the past 5 years, we were in the streets with the district attorney, and some of you, council people, went out with us to see the problem. We initiated that, put our necks on the line, and then it was discarded. I don't believe that we need new initiatives. We just need to rebuild the ones that are currently active and doing something. So I just wanted to address, because it's more than just gun violence that's been occurring, it's other factors. What I have saw was, especially in the South End, no one seems to address the city mission. A lot of that is in factors in the surrounding areas of the South End. They're just hanging out, and it causes things to happen when you hang out. So I just wanted to address what's going on. And finally, I would like to say that I think it would be a good idea if any of the council people here would just come together and go to the different wards so that they can experience what other wards are going through and see for themselves. It may not be happening in your ward, but you will get the experience of what's some of the other council members are dealing with in their wards. And I think that would be more productive in this gun violence situation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Lukey Forbes.
Hello, my name is Lukey Forbes. I live at 184 Sheridan Avenue, Apartment A. I'm a City of Albany resident. And we're here with a clear ask. The city must, right now, we must create an Office of Violent Prevention. And we're also asking that the city make sure that they build with us and not around us when it comes to this Office of Violence Prevention. This isn't theoretical to us. We are revolutionary. Our peer advocates are out there every day on the corner, in the schools, in homes, interrupting harm. We hold space. We build real solutions with the people who are directly impacted. And we're not waiting for systems to catch up to us, but we are asking for the system to catch up to us and to work with us as we continue to try to prevent violence within our community. We are doing the work. What we're lacking is the commitment. It's the resources, it's the recognition, and it's the real partnership. So as the city is being considered, well, as this is being considered within the city, we're saying clearly we want to be a part of it, not as an add-on, not as a checkbox, but as a partner with who has lived experience and leadership to shape this office and how it operates on the ground. And the city already understands this principle. Albany has passed a resolution supporting clean slate, acknowledging that not only do formerly incarcerated people deserve a second chance and meaningful workforce, that acknowledgement can't stop at only words. It must show up in how we build this office. Because right now in our community, there are directly impacted people who once were a part of the problem who are now leading the solution. They are credible messengers. They are peacekeepers. They are the reasons that conflict get de-escalated instead of escalate. If we are serious about prevention, then we must be serious about the investment in them. The Office of Violence Prevention should reflect the truth. It should be created of pathways for peer advocates to be resourced, to be respected, and to be integrated without being stripped of their identity, of their connection to community. We cannot build safety by disconnecting from the very people who make it possible. As a directly impacted youth advocate, someone who was incarcerated as a young person, I was incarcerated at 15 years old, which is why I created this organization to help do this work in creating real pathways for young people. Our voices need to be not only in the room, but uplift the room. That they guide the actual decisions, they help shape the policies. So create the office, build with us, and make sure that it reflects the people who are already doing this work. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Cheryl DaCosta.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Cheryl DeCrosta. I live in the 5th Ward, resident of the city of Albany. I'm not going to talk a long time. I'm here to implore you all. If you really care about preventing violence in the city of Albany, we have to do something a little bit different. We have to. We have to. Please, I'm imploring you, support local law G. I also, I want to thank a couple of council members for coming to our neighborhood association meeting, West Hill. I want to thank Ms. Keegan for coming and talking about the complete streets and green streets. And I want to thank Mr. Robinson for coming and talking about local law G. There are many times when we are left out, and I really appreciate the inclusion. Yeah, I am in support of inclusionary housing. I would like to echo what the people before me said. I think it's really important. We have to start doing things differently. We really do. What we've been doing hasn't been working. So, yeah. I also want to say, in regard to being left out of certain things, there was this climate action survey in the city, and somehow they didn't wind up in West Hill that I know of until the survey was completed. I saw on Instagram a message about the climate action, process, and so I messaged and asked how I could participate in that on February 5th, and on February 18th I received a response back that I could attend a program at the West Hill or the new Albany West Community Center in March, and come to find out that that was long after the survey that had been open online, but I wasn't directed to that. So I just speak on that to say, just to point out the fact that we need to be more careful about including people. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Maxine DeWitt.
My name is Maxine DeWitt. I was born here in Albany. I'm from the 5th District. I live on Livingston Avenue. And I'm concerned about Auburn Hills. Main Street is North Swan Street and 3rd Street. They're supposed to have a police outreach program on Swan Street, and it's the drug activity that's going on up there, and the school that's on Lark Street. They have international school there, where the kids come down 3rd Street, and there's so much drug activity on North Swan, you can't even get across, come down the street in your car. There's so much congestion there with the drugs on one side and the people there. You can't even cross the street. You can't even come through there with your vehicle. And it's really out of hand. And the police outreach place, that's where the liquor store used to be. There's so many people that's crowded there, you can forget about crossing the street. And the kids, they play there. And the police outreach where the kids be at, they do nothing. I don't see why they have a police outreach program there, because the police aren't doing anything to stop it. And I don't think that's right. And the drug dealers, they look at you like you're crazy. and the people look like they bend it over like the statues, they stuck in the street. And it's ridiculous. And I know people have seen it. It's going on every day. You can't even go, like you come down 3rd Street, you can't even go down North Swan. And there's a store there where they crowded there. The kids come up and down, babies, people pushing their babies and strollers. It's ridiculous, and something needs to be done. And that police outreach place, they can forget it because they're not helping the public. They're not doing a thing. And that's all I have to say. Something needs to be done about it. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Aaliyah Brickley.
Hi, my name's Leah. I'm 19 years old. I'm a youth organizer with We Are Revolutionary. We need an Office of Violence Prevention. We should be a part of that work. From my experience, violence and prevention isn't just about policing. A lot of youth are dealing with trauma, lack of support, and limited opportunities. When we don't have safe spaces or people to turn to, things can escalate. I want to shout out our upcoming Stay Out the Field and block parties, where we bring people together, teach them about ACEs, and offer real support to help change the outcome. I've seen firsthand how being a part of something positive can shift your mindset and your path. I also believe that it's important that youth voices are truly included in these conversations, not just talked about, but listened to. We know what happens in our community, and we can be a part of that solution.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Phaedra Allah.
Hi, my name is Phaedra. I am a youth organizer with We're Revolutionary. I'm 14 years old. I'm here because violence in our community is something young people like me see and feel every day. We are the ones closest and issued to these solutions, and we are also living through it. That's why I think we need an Office of Violence Prevention, something that focuses on stopping violence before it happens. A lot of us don't feel safe, and that's not okay. So we would be the ideal for a partner with the Office of Violence Prevention. We deserve a voice, and we want to help be part of this solution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Asia Evans.
Hi, my name is Asia. I'm a youth organizer with We Are Revolutionary that works to address ACEs. We are trying to prevent childhood trauma. We would like for you guys to make a organization that keeps the youth out of the streets, which is the Office of Violence Prevention, that keeps us aware of majority of things that's going on in the world. Lukey has opened a lot of doors for kids and taught us a lot and keeps us focused on getting out of the streets. I feel like the program We Are Revolutionary could decrease the crime rate in Albany, and hopefully we could make We Are Revolutionary a worldwide organization, because majority of us wasn't who we are now, and I feel like Lukey opened doors for some of us. I never expected to even see the City Hall ever, but I'm very thankful for Lukey, Courage, and Anaya for working with We Are Revolutionary to bringing us here, and yeah, that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Courage Stone.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Courage. I'm 21, and I'm the statewide organizer with We Are Revolutionary. Today, we're here to ask you all to create the Office of Violence Prevention, so therefore we can form a coalition, because we share a common vision of interrupting cycles of violence and investing in community well-being. In the neighborhoods I come from and organize in, violence is not a headline nor a statistic. It's something people wake up inside of. It moves through homes, schools, blocks, and generations, and still beneath all of that, the quiet truth is that most harm is not inevitable, it is produced. And if it is produced, it can be prevented. We do not lack awareness, we lack alignment. We lack the sustained connection between those who hold resources and those who have lived knowledge of what communities actually need to stay whole. This movement is an invitation to bridge that gap, not in theory, but in practice. To move beyond isolated efforts and towards shared responsibility, to build something that does not only respond to violence after it appears, but works upstream, where safety is actually decided. We are here because we believe safety should not be something communities wait for. It should be something that we build together deliberately and in full coordination. A coalition like this has the potential to change not just outcomes, but direction, to align strategy, share knowledge, and build a continuum of care that meets people before they fall through the cracks. To recognize that prevention is not a single program. It is a commitment, it is a practice, and it is a relationship that must be nurtured over time. Because safety is not something that can be enforced into existence. It is something that must be cultivated. It grows where there's stability, where there's support, where there is care that does not disappear when attention shifts. And so I am here, and we are here, not just to speak, but to extend something real. A willingness to build together, to listen deeply, and to move with intention. Because the future we are trying to create will not come from isolated efforts. It will come from what we are willing to align, to invest in, and to believe is possible when we stop treating prevention as optional and start treating it as essential. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jayaden Bishop.
Hi, my name is Jayaden. I'm here. I'm a youth organizer with We Are Revolutionary. We're here to ask you guys if you can create an Office of Violence Prevention so that kids like me can be a part of the solution and so we can stay out of trouble and keep peers out of trouble. The youth needs more programs like We Are Revolutionary because the program helps us grow and be better people in society. And they pay us to learn soft skills and teach us pre-workforce skills to know how to get jobs. And also teach us emotional regulation. More people my age need these kind of things to prevent violence in our communities and grow better and be better people in the world. That's it.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Zaya Roulette. Okay, thank you. Anaya Davis.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anaya Davis. I am a determined youth advocate and organizer with We Are Revolutionary. We are here to create the Office of Violence Prevention and to be a part of the coalition that is developed because we both are working to achieve a common goal, to stop and prevent violence in our communities. I strongly disagree with controlling and surveilling areas where young people reside or hang out at, incarcerating them, putting them in environments with unhealed people, while being unhealed themselves and suspending them from school and other programs. I feel strongly about this because so many people believe that separating the youth from the rest of society will positively change their behaviors and make them upstanding citizens. You cannot effectively change a person and expect them to do better if you only see their behavior as wrong or problematic and not as a way of communication. And we are revolutionary. We learn what is going on in the youth's lives, how they react to adversity and things that trigger them, educate them on why they have certain reactions and urges to things, then provide them with coping skills and ways to keep them more occupied. A more reformative way of getting the youth to do better and be better for themselves. Based on my observations, youth mentors, grown adults who have years of experience working with the youth, constantly criticize young people for how they behave, how they speak to their peers and adults, and their lack of motivation. I have heard many call youth silly for being in the gang life. I have witnessed mentors roll their eyes and shake their heads when they hear young people curse or have tense moments with adults. I have also heard that the youth is doomed and our future isn't looking bright. I have also noticed the trend of the youth being community gossip from these so-called leaders, and it completely throws me off. If we want there to be less people fighting in our streets, less people stabbing each other, shooting each other, and arguing in the public, then we have to start with our young people, because the grown people you see displaying these behaviors are kids who have never learned to properly express their emotions and communicate when there is conflict between them and another person, but act out in violent ways because that is the only way they know and the only way they see others resolve their problems. Reformative redirection, which is the overall mission of We Are Revolutionary, addresses these issues and make a difference because young people identify their ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, articulate the feelings that are associated with these experiences, compare these feelings with situations in present day that trigger these feelings or make them want to crash out, and then are provided with alternative ways to deal with being upset or angry that are not nonviolent. These include grounding techniques such as deep breathing, exercising, focusing.
Thank you. Your time is up.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Nashaya. Nashaya.
Hi, my name is Naisha. I'm a youth organizer with We Are Revolutionary. I am here to ask you to create the Office of Violence Prevention, and I believe that We Are Revolutionary needs to be a partner with it because it helps kids stay out of the streets, help us learn about peer advocacy, and teaches us to speak up for ourselves. This program has helped me learn a lot of things I never knew. This program teaches me that violence isn't always the way to handle things and it teaches me to make sound decisions because Luki, Courage, and Anaya teach us emotional control and intelligence.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dennis Mosley. Dennis Mosley. Okay. John Cutro. Yeah, he signed up. Oh.
I'm glad they went first because I'd like to propose that the office be renamed the Office of Community Connection and We Are Revolutionary. John
Mr.
Cutro.
Cutro,
My
thank
name's
you.
John Cutro. I live at 727 Madison Avenue in Albany, New York. Been a restorative practitioner since 1997. Used restorative practices in not just death penalty cases and homicides, but also in my own family, and dealing with a lot of the trauma that these young people have been talking about. Generational sexual abuse and other severe trauma. I disclose this to make the first of 2 points. Point number one, relational and restorative practices are more than a tool in an important toolbox. I and other long-term practitioners in the repair and prevention of harm business experience them in a profound way, as a way of being in the world. Since 2022, Dennis Mosley and I have been working within the Refugee Welcome Center community on Elk and Sherman Street between Quail and Ontario. The overall premise we have followed, borrowed from Peter Bloch's Community, the Structure of Belonging, is 4 parts. 1, build the social fabric and transform the isolation within our communities into connectedness and caring for the whole. 2, shift our conversations from the problems of community to the possibilities of community. And then 3, commit to create a future distinct from the past. Social fabric is created one room at a time, the one we are currently in at the moment. Look around, look at these young people. We are creating social fabric right here and right now. My second point, over the past 4 years, Dennis and I have exercised that premise. We listen to and learn by engaging youth, families, and neighbors in their homes and on the street. We share our human emotions, accept responsibility for our behaviors, and try to understand where those behaviors come from. One example, it creates possibilities. Imagine a dry erase board in a room. Youth collectively dry erase diagram how a past street incident unfolded minute by minute. After their analysis, they all agreed they had no freaking idea what was actually happening until they all got together and diagrammed it out. So we convened a pre-mortem on how to use what was learned from their dry erase post-mortem to avoid an actual post-mortem, an autopsy on someone they loved or cared about. That is a footprint on the heart. It can't be erased. How can we all help? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goutreau.
Our next speaker is James Davis.
Good evening, Common Council. Good evening to familiar faces and new faces. My name is James Davis. I am a life resident here in the city of Albany. I would like to speak to the Violence Prevention Task Force in that capacity. As a young man, I've worked with at-risk youth and kids that struggle with violence for the last 15 years. I also have been a victim of not only violence, but gun violence, and I currently still work with our youth in my professional capacity. And so I would like to share some things that hopefully you guys can take into consideration. My first statement that I would like to make is that I am all for Violence Prevention Task Force office being developed, but I am also for it being under the guise of the mayor's office. And the reason being is this. Our city has wanted to change for a long time, and it's here. And our mayor has a vision for the city of Albany. And I think, and I understand that there's some issues as far as recommendations, but I think allowing that to take place represents solidarity behind her vision, also with the agencies and partners that she is aligned with and that have aligned with her, allowing her to take on this strenuous and most detrimental topic that's plagued the city of Albany for quite some time. I say that because we all know that violence is a sticky situation when we talk about it. And we want to try to create a task force and we want to get ahead of it, but we have to understand it. Let's be clear, right? And I want to give you an analogy, right, and be a little theatrical, right? You ever see the Crocodile Hunter or those guys that's out in the wilderness and you see them up close and personal with a spider or a snake, and you like, wow, right? They're right there, and they don't get bit. They can capture it, right? Because they understand the nature of what they're dealing with, right? And so I say that to say this. We're in a new time to where the old cliches of stop violence and it's not good for you and this, that, and the third is played out. There's a new perspective that needs to be gained so that we can get ahead of the narratives to help curb this violence. And who's best to do it, right now, I think will be the mayor and allowing it to happen, guys getting over your differences and guys making some things happen. So as these youth just expressed, it's a cry for help. They're in small number here, but they express a perspective and feelings and thoughts of a lot of youth citywide. And I want to commend Lukey Forge for organizing them and coming here and reflecting that. That was a great job that he did. And I hope you guys take that in consideration in moving forward with this initiative a little faster and allowing the mayor to exercise her vision and come together under solidarity so we can move forward. Because as a lifelong residents and others, we would like to see that. Thank you.
Our last speaker for the evening is Tim Sarver.
Hi, Council. My name is Tim Sarver. I work at United Tenants of Albany, and I'm here to talk over the ongoing housing affordability crisis and what amending inclusionary zoning might mean for that. The housing crisis looks like rents rising by 50%, while home prices double over the last decade at a rate far outpacing any kind of inflation for other goods or services. Private developers are driven to build housing for the pursuit of profits, and for the sake of reaping those profits, it logically follows for investors that rent has to rise. Homes should exist for people to live in. They should not be another avenue for investors to exploit. Decreasing inclusionary zoning doesn't open up new incentives for developers to make housing more affordable. It chips away at a small but crucial protection meant to ensure that new housing includes at least some affordable options. A majority of tenants in Albany pay such a large share of their incomes towards rent that they're unable to afford the kinds of income requirements that luxury apartment developers love to impose. A fourth of tenants here in Albany are paying half or more of their income on rent. We have a poverty rate more than double the national average, with median incomes nearly $20,000 less than the national average. Inclusionary zoning can provide much-needed economic opportunity by reducing rent burdens for low-income residents, as well as brightening the futures of their children who can access neighborhoods they've been priced out of. This could increase test scores in a nationally below-average city and a historically redlined and segregated city. Inclusionary zoning promotes household stability, racial and economic integration, and builds towards a more equitable future for all. All of this has positive effects on childhood development, familial cohesion, household finances, and opportunities to build wealth. Low-income tenants are desperate, and Albany Housing Authority's wait list is several years long. What's more, nonprofit and affordable developers have a bad track record related to code violations, accounting, and evictions. It's hard to understand why we'd consider cutting a mandate that costs the city and its taxpayers nothing to enforce while nearly 1,000 homes sit vacant. We need inclusionary zoning to fill in the gaps now more than ever. From where I sit, I think from where most of the struggling tenants sit, it feels like what would motivate amending inclusionary zoning is a preference given to the concerns of the wealthy alongside disinterest in the needs of the poor. The construction of luxury apartments means nothing to families and tenants just looking for somewhere they can afford to sleep at night. The city should feel a sense of embarrassment for how it treats people who are struggling. Give struggling families more, not less. Keep inclusionary zoning.
Thank you, sir. And with that, our public comment section comes to a close. We do have a section that follows up where members can speak, or you want to make a comment about the public comment that was made. Mr. Ballerin and then Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I'll be brief. I want to do something that you're probably not going to see happen too often when you have people come and speak against somebody's bill, is thank you. Is thank you for coming and speaking. Thank you for the work you've all done on this issue for many, many years. Thank you for all of those who've worked with me on this issue for the last 5 years. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your ear when I just need to let some frustration out. So thank you, and I mean that. And I know that there's a lot of pain about these changes that we're about to make today, and I would be lying if I said I don't feel some of that pain as well. You don't work on a bill for 3 years, fight for it after you pass it, fight for it to defend it for 2 years, so you give 6 years of your life to something, and then have to compromise it beyond what you believed in, and I feel some pain. But compromise comes with a goal of survival, and a goal of to be able to come back again. This environment that we are in right now to negotiate this was not a good environment, and that's being honest. When you have developers that say we can go anywhere else and not have this policy, they're right. And we can say, well, they weren't developing here, and they weren't developing just to prove that this policy wasn't going to work, and maybe they weren't. Maybe they weren't developing in good faith. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they weren't developing because of the numbers. I'll give them that. But you can't force people to come and develop. They don't want to. But I want to talk more about why I support this and why I have my name attached to this when we talk about the bill. But I just wanted to take this time to just say thank you to everyone who has fought for this. Thank you for coming out today. I hope you continue to come out. I hope you continue to go out elsewhere, because the part of that we need, if you really believe in this, is to change the environment. And the way to change the environment is to take that one strong argument that they have, which we can go anywhere. Well, let's change everywhere. We were the only city in this area that had good cause eviction just a few months ago. Well, that's not the case anymore. So change is here. Change is here. So I know this is not a day where any one of us is going to be celebrating, but it is a day where we can say we're still standing, and hopefully there'll be changing that will put us in a better position when we come back again for the next fight. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ballerin. Mr. Johnson?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say, as I lived through this experience, I just think about my mother and the other single mothers that were the head of households in our community, and I'm so glad that my mother doesn't have to live during this time as a single parent and try to make it. Albany housing was like was a safe haven to parents that struggle. It's a lot of one-parent households, and although we say, you know, I always cringe when I hear the word compromise because we tend to be on the bad end of the compromise. At least that's how it feels to me. And I want to thank everybody that came out. I want to thank it's refreshing to hear our youth speak about the issues in the community. And just on a personal level, I wish I would have asked for $100,000. I'd have never thought that they would give us $50,000. I will not be supporting the bill. I just understand that no matter how you look at it, it's going to be forcing people out of areas that they grew up and they loved. And then the double insult is when you're forced out of an area and then all of a sudden you start seeing the care and the love put into the area that it never was put in when you were there. So I thank everyone. The fight is not over. And I agree that it was a concerted effort for people to avoid building for, you know, it was orchestrated. And I would have been more comfortable if next year we did something like this after the money came and landed. So thank you for coming. And I wanted to keep it short and just acknowledge that, you know, what you speak about, you know, and what we live is quite different than what others live and then they speak about. So please be mindful when people speak about their lived experiences, because it's not easy to come in here and talk about what goes on every day in your community, because essentially you're kind of making your community look bad. And, you know, our job is we are proud members of this city and we love the parts of the towns that we live in, and we all want better. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and I'll just add to that, Mr. Johnson's point about the young folks being here. Very powerful hearing their voices. I would ask that our staff connect with Mr. Forbes and get their written comments for the record, so we have those complete and add them to it. So, and with that, we're moving on to approval of minutes from a previous meeting.
Thank you, Mr. President. I offer the April 6th meeting minutes for approval.
Second. Thank you for always being so prompt, Mr. Hoey. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Okay. Reports of standing committees. Ms. Keegan.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Finance Committee met last Wednesday, April 15th, to discuss the ongoing fiscal picture for the city. The mayor's office was present, and then there was a presentation provided to the council and the public that specifically outlined how we came to be in the deficit that we currently are in. And we will be meeting this Wednesday and Wednesday the 29th.
Thank you, Ms. Keegan. Anyone else? Mr. Howitt?
Thank you, Mr. President. The Public Safety Committee met on April 14th, and we passed Local Law G out of committee with favorable recommendation unanimously. Thank you.
Okay, any further reports? Okay, seeing none. Moving on to local laws. Mr. Hoey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I noticed local law G of 2026 and asked for its passage via a roll call vote. Do we have to do stuff out of order first, or?
Yeah, we gotta, I'm sorry, Ms. Farrell, because we're switching them.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we take local law G of 2026 out of order.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you. Motion passes. Mr. Hoey.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. President. I notice local law G of 2026 and ask for its passage via roll call vote.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
A local law establishing an Office of Violence Prevention and amending Chapter 183, Equity Agenda of the Code of the City of Albany in relation to the Violence Prevention Task Force.
Thank you. Discussion, Mr. Hoey.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. This has been a complicated local law. We feel that we got a really good law on the books right now that we're going to vote on tonight. I was really, really moved tonight by the young people and other people speaking about violence in the city. I know many of us get the texts every time there's a stabbing or there's a shooting. And, you know, when I drive, I think a lot. And driving to the meeting tonight, just thinking about violence, I mean, there's violence all around us. You turn on the TV at night, we see how nations take care of disputes. You know, they bomb each other to death and blow up little kids, blow up schools. I mean, this is the world we live in. I know life itself, our lives are built on killing, you know, animals if we're meat eaters, or killing vegetation that grows. That's how we live. So it's, you know, we'll never stamp out violence all the way, but what we can do is learn a way to deal with it and make it not as extreme. And I'm hoping that Albany will be a bright spot in our country, that we get together, come up with some solutions, and see if we can cut down this violence, especially among our young people. You know, they have no other way to settle disputes than to kill each other or try to kill each other. And, you know, one of my constituents brought up a point to me, Tom, why do they keep saying non-life-threatening injury when somebody gets shot? Because when you shoot somebody, you are threatening their life. I'd rather it be, you know, they come up with a different saying, but it's part of our society accepting that this stuff happens. Violence should not happen. Nobody should be shot. Nobody should be stabbed. It just takes working out and communication. You know, it's a dream. I mean, people go to religion trying to figure out a way that we can all get along. But let's see that us as a city and us as a common council, this is like the first step. Let's set up this office of violence prevention, come up with some ways that we can deal with the tension and the anger that our residents feel. So thank you, and I hope you will support this.
Mr. Robinson.
Thank you, Council President. First, I'd like to clarify that at our last monthly meeting, when Local Law G was introduced as an MC, that I was the only one voted no. Just want to clarify reason why. During our public safety meeting, Local Law F was passed out of committee with a positive recommendation with the conversation that all amendments would be brought to the floor and the full council will have an opportunity to weigh in on amendments. The last thing I want to do is hold up the Violence Prevention Task Force from going to the mayor's office for her to get to work. At the request, I mean, you know, if the chair for public safety would indeed withdraw Local Law F from the agenda, I would respect that. And going forward, I will be voting for Local Law G and supporting it in its full content. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. I will be supporting this resolution, but I just want to say that we visited Baltimore and we had a chance to see how Baltimore was operating. But one of the things that Baltimore has is they have boots on the ground running, and I think that our focus really here should be figuring out how to grow, groups like We Are Revolutionary and other groups that are in the neighborhood running. One of the things that I took away from Baltimore, it was a need for the mayor's office to get involved because they had so many positive things going on in the neighborhood naturally. Sometimes you hear me talk about organic. Organic is when the people from those communities are empowered to be able to make a difference, to be able to talk and lead in front of their kids. What we don't have in Albany is that. A lot of times the leadership is coming from a voice that people aren't familiar with and don't know, so you don't have the trust. So I think that our focus has to get back on the people, back on our youth, back on the people that are participating. Because what happens is you start showing attention to them and others want that attention, and then they start doing the things that are needed to make the turnaround in these communities that are being affected with violence. If we act like violence isn't an issue, it's not going to get smaller. It's going to continue to grow as it has in our city. So I will be supporting it, but I also encourage people to support the individuals that are in the community that dream, that have an understanding that they know that we can make a difference in these kids, and just sometimes with us being present is the answer, is the solution of some of the things that happen. So I want to say that we are trying to do something different than what has happened in the past, but sometimes when you try to initiate things, we get resistance from our own, and we have to be mindful of that and not stop us from being our own solution. Thank you.
Mr. Flynn?
I kind of want to piggyback what Councilmember Johnson said. For years, I've said that we have so many communities, we have so many kids, we have so many seniors. There's a lot of people that want to get involved, and what this task force is the hub where everybody can go to. We are Revolutionary, we have SNUG, we have our own violence prevention task force. The county has their own, the state police has theirs. At least now, the city of Albany can say, all these little groups, come to this task force and let's solve the problems rather than everybody have their own ideas. Let's put those ideas into one pool and we'll solve hopefully the violence in the city of Albany. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flynn. Any further? Ms. Brody?
Thank you. I think one of the things I want to make sure people are aware of is that this local Law G is essentially the administrative infrastructure to set up this super important office and the task force that is going to be overseen by it. We also need to put our money where our mouth is, though, and funding this, as we've heard in a letter just this afternoon from the mayor's office, is going to be coming from grant opportunities that they're very hopeful for, and other potential foundations and other not-for-profits who are working in this space. So I want to make sure we're just very clear that this is moving this to the mayor's office and setting this up. That is the first step that we need to take. And the second step will be finding the funding to make sure that all of this effort can be expended in ways that actually make us, that give us the outcomes that we're hoping for. Like I've said before, an office is nice, is what we really need are outcomes, and in order to have outcomes, we also need the funding for it. So I applaud the mayor's offices and her team's efforts in looking for that money in ways that I know Baltimore had shown us they are doing it with private foundation money and other state and federal sources as well, and I think we're well on our way to doing that here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brody. Any further comments? No? Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Adams.
Yes.
Anani.
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Valorant.
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Brody.
Yes.
Farrell.
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Flynn.
Yes, co-sponsor.
Hoey.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Keegan.
Yes.
Lumpkin.
Yes. Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Howell.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Williamson.
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Zamer.
Yes.
15 in the affirmative.
The motion passes. Okay, continuing on, Mr. Hoey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to withdraw local law F of 2026 from the agenda.
I second it.
In a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes, it's withdrawn. Okay, next on to ordinances, Ms. Keegan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to turn this over to Ms. Costello for introduction.
I notice ordinance number 84226 and ask for its introduction.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance amending Article 5, Complete Streets of Chapter 323, Streets and Sidewalks of Part 2, General Legislation of the Code of the City of Albany in relation to Green Street designs.
Ms. Farrell?
Thank you, Mr. President. That will go to planning.
Okay, great, thank you. Mr. Hoey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I notice ordinance 94226 and ask for it to be introduced.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance amending Chapter 375, City of Albany Unified Sustainable Development Ordinance of the Code of the City of Albany in relation to permitting the construction of cottage courts.
Thank you, Ms. Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. That ordinance will go to planning.
Okay. Thank you. Next on to ordinances, Mr. Ballery.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that ordinance 5.31.26 be moved forward for a vote.
Got to do the amendment first.
As amended.
Okay. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, now Mr. Ballery.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. I ask that ordinance 5.31.26 be moved forward for a vote.
Thank you, Mr. Ballery. Madam Clerk.
An ordinance amending Chapter 375, Unified Sustainable Development Ordinance of the Code of the City of Albany in relation to adjusting the affordable housing requirement and adding exceptions to affordable housing requirements.
Thank you. Discussion, Mr. Ballery.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I just wanted to speak a little bit on the bill and the differences of where we are from where we've been, as well as some history. So I will do the best I can to be brief. So some history on this. Back in 2017, we passed inclusionary housing at 5%. Back in 2020, I started conversations on trying to get it increased to a different number. So after quite a bit of work, in 2023, we passed what we currently have, where it's a tiered system between 7%, 10%, 12, and 13. 2025, we saw two bills. Well, we saw one bill in early October that would have brought the AMI at 100% and would have allowed for a buyout at $10,000 a unit. We then presented a second bill, and I appreciate everyone's support in that. That would have brought the AMI to 70% with a buyout of $25,000 up to 5% to hold to the 5%. For those who remember, we had a very lengthy, I think it was 3 or 4 hour planning meeting where we were trying to negotiate those numbers. What people don't know is that outside of that very lengthy meeting, there was very lengthy phone calls and very lengthy Zoom meetings and very lengthy conversations on trying to get to a compromise. And we left that very lengthy meeting with no compromise. And on December 29th, the bill that we were going to have before us was one of 100 AMI, $10,000 buyout per unit. Now, would we have probably been able to compromise something on the 29th? I think so. But based on the conversations that we had, that 4-hour meeting, and the conversations that we had in Zoom meetings and phone calls and so forth, the best that was being brought to the table was 80% AMI, $10,000 buyout. Some conversation about possibly including the enforcement language, which is a critical part of what we are voting on today. Luckily, for those who believe in inclusionary housing, there was a technical error with the public hearing. And because there was a technical error with the public hearing, that day, that vote never came forward. And we won't know if that would have been passed, and we'd be facing a different situation. Now, to be 100% honest, when we were having those discussions, if that would have passed, we would still have another bill before this body, because we would have presented another bill if they would have rammed through that bill. Fast forward January 3rd. We get a text, advocates, myself, and others from the mayor's office. Let's start working on this. So right from the beginning, the mayor's office, to her credit and her team, brought people together to try to address this issue. And we've had several long and difficult meetings. We had several Zoom meetings and several phone calls, and we had people talking on both sides trying to find a compromise. And the compromise that we have is what we have in front of us. It is by far not perfect. It's by far not anything that anyone, at least on my side, is celebrating. But it does create a pathway forward. It stabilizes this issue where we're no longer facing a potential elimination, because at a 100% AMI, it was an elimination of this affordable housing initiative. At 70%, it actually creates some affordable units. At $10,000, a buyout would mean that as an investor, you'd get your return within 2.5 years. If you're investing and you want to buy out at $10,000, you get your investment within 2.5 years, depending on what the difference between the affordable and the market rent. At $50,000, it's between 8.5 to 9 years. So why is that important? Because if you're going to invest and you're looking to do the buyout, it's going to take you 8 to 10 years to get your money back. That's a long time. And that's a lot of time where you can invest that money someplace else where you can make that. So that number is a number that's going to deter a lot of developers from doing the total buyout. Now, are there going to be some that will still do the buyout? Yes. Yes, there will be. But the compromise was made so that it's going to deter the majority of them from doing the buyout. Also, it's important to know where the money goes. Building the fund trust in a way that has those who are going to have an advisory role are going to be those individuals who actually are in the field and actually know what's going on with housing. Okay, we're going to have the money going towards tenant protection as well as housing first-time homeowners. So why is that important? It's important because it wasn't a buyout where it wasn't thought about the numbers, and it wasn't thought about trying to preserve the 5%, because that is the goal. That's always been the goal, to try to preserve affordable housing so that people in our city can live in all parts of our neighborhoods. That's always been the goal. It's always been the goal is not about us versus them. It's always been about, let's make it so that everyone in our neighborhood, everyone in our city can benefit from the development. I also think the enforcement language that was added is critical, because without enforcement language, it makes it so that you can move anybody in an affordable housing unit. By having that, we're making sure that this bill now, actually, the benefits go to the people it's intended to. So I appreciate everyone who was willing to come in the room and have these difficult conversations. I said it time and time again, it's not easy to go in these rooms, because when you go in these rooms, you make yourself vulnerable and accountable. Because you make yourself vulnerable to what you have to put forward and to try to find a compromise, but you also make yourself accountable for what comes out of that room. And that's really where I am. I will hold my feet to the fire by supporting this and by making sure that what we agreed in that room is implemented, but I'm also going to make sure we hold those who agreed in that room to these terms, hold their feet to the fire, to make sure that we're making sure that we're enforcing this in the way that it's supposed to be, making sure that we're having this benefit those it's supposed to, and making sure that if there are any funds, and I honestly hope there are no funds, because that's not the goal of this, but if there are any funds, making sure it goes to those that need it and that we're trying to protect by this. So again, I appreciate everyone's efforts on this. I appreciate the mayor and his staff for having these difficult conversations, having these thoughtful conversations, and creating the environment to be able to try to find a path forward. And I ask my colleagues to support this as we move this forward today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vallerin. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. As I've spoken in this chambers many times, I talk about messaging and programming. I often think, what would the message or what would the results have been if the mayor was on the resident side, if the mayor was speaking on behalf of the people? Because as my colleague just said, this conversation has been going on since 2017. And I guarantee you, if there's someone that looked into the numbers, there's been a lot of people that have been separated from apartments that they have rented, all of their lives. And again, compromise. This is another example of, people being forced out of where they would like to be. Again, earlier I spoke about low rents. Albany Housing Authority operated in the city of Albany, and in their mission statement, it clearly said about low rents. And you had families that relied off of low rents for generations, and like the assessment, that we dealt with in the last year or so, it came heavy and hard. And I think that it's more work to do. This is not the answer. As I said earlier, I would like to see this happen down the road after the money got here and not before the money, because it just works in their hands. It sends a message to the developers is that all we have to do is stand together. Well, why aren't we doing the same thing as a city and standing together and letting them know that, this is not going to go down? So, as I said earlier, I will not be supporting this. And when I walked in today, I seen a familiar face that I hadn't seen in a long time, Miss Sandy over there. I don't want to try to say her last name, but, when you see some of the faces that I saw in here, and John Crudo, it's been people that have been fighting for this stuff before it became popular to us, before it became an issue to us. And it's important that we champion their cause, because they fought long and hard for a reason. And as a city, a lot of our champions, the people that made the way for the city, are the elderly now, or they have passed on. And again, it's important that we include the youth in it, because we are planting seeds tomorrow that they're going to become they're going to become ownership of this mic and this chair that I sit in and the others sit in. And so we have to give them the right example. And I just say that the people need to be heard, the people needed to be representative, and people don't need to be pushed out of where they call home. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's a reality to this, right? My first term on council, I lobbied hard for community benefits agreements within the communities, the host communities where developers is coming in the bill or choose to come in bill. And one thing I learned is that the only people that was willing to build in the community I represent was Albany housing, public housing. There was no development that was coming in with market rate housing and even willing to sit at the table. It exists, it's here. I mean, what are we gonna do? I mean, are we gonna pass up the opportunity? And you know, the ball is in their court. They can go elsewhere and build. So we say, the hell with it, you know, we're gonna stand our grounds and allow them to go somewhere else and build. Are we gonna take every opportunity to capitalize the resources, and take the resources and put the resources back in the communities that's most affected by this gentrification? Because that's what it is gentrification, that's the reality of it. And, you know, we can't sit back, you know, and allow, you know what I'm saying, this to happen without having some type of legislation in place where that we got to hold these accountable, hold these developers accountable for something. Sure, it could be more, sure, it could have been more, but we somewhere. And, you know, it's just that now is we have to make sure that we take the resources that is coming in from the developers and make sure it's going directly to the neighborhoods that is impacted through the redlining, go strictly to the neighborhoods that never even understood what home ownership is, and teach them home ownership, teach them how to have their own. You know, just make sure that this money or this finance or this new resources that's coming to the city, making sure that it's going to the right places with the information, making sure that, you know what I'm saying, the residents is well invested, that they have an opportunity. Those that never had the opportunity to, you know what I'm saying, live the American dream, they may have the opportunity now to live the American dream. Just a reality check that I know. There's gonna be no fair housing, no fair market housing coming into the community I represent. My school districts is low performing. The housing stock, you know what I'm saying, is 95% rentals. And, you know, people is not gonna come in, big developers is not, like I say, you know, Albany housing don't even wanna come right now, you know, and, you know, we just in a sad state right now, and, you know, given the opportunity that now we can teach home ownership, you know, we can teach those that, you know, never had that opportunity to live the American dream. And, you know, it's not perfect, you know, like my colleague said, you know, but, you know, we at least have a starting point. So I will be supporting this resolution. You know, I urge that my other colleagues do the same. Thank you.
Mr. Adams.
Thank you. Just to piggyback off of the councilman's point, just to add clarity, I think it's very important when we come into these chambers and we speak about housing, we advocate for housing legislation and policy, that we use correct data and facts and information to reference our points. That being, when we speak about affordability, we all know and recognize that affordability looks different for different people and different income brackets. When we talk about housing and market rate housing, we also have to recognize in this legislation, we're focusing on market rate housing. We're not focusing on affordable housing developments. We're also not focusing on middle housing that supports both low income and also low market rate apartments.
This legislation and the previous legislation did nothing to address those issues. That's why here in this city, we still have a large population of units that are gone. We need 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms. Those are not being built here in the city of Albany, and this legislation has not stopped those from being built. It goes back to the point of developers pick and choose what they want to develop and where they want to develop that. We, as a body, have very little to minimal pull to really make someone build something somewhere. So we recognize that the title of luxury is getting slapped on all the market rate buildings that are being built here. As someone who lives in one of them, they're not luxury at all, by far. It's just a title being put on to bring people in, to attract. But that is less of the point, because the issue, again, goes back to the supply issue and what the supply issue is affecting. The supply issue is affecting the families and individuals I just mentioned that need the 3-bedroom, 4 bedrooms, large 2 bedrooms. There is a huge number of people right now on Albany housing listing that have been on that list for 5 or 6 years who cannot get a unit. Why? Because the units that they do have are, one, being held up by people staying there long term. That's an issue. The second part to that is the maintenance and quality of Albany housing units, which is also an issue for many of the residents in the city who are living in those units. That's a bigger issue. When we looked at the housing audit, the housing audit specifically states that we are in a bigger need of those type of units at a higher, at a lower AMI to support these families and individuals. Again, this legislation does not address those issues. This is for market rate housing for individuals, again, who want to move and live in the city of Albany that can afford to do it. But we also recognize, again, that the issue here is the pay wage. People here in the city of Albany are not making enough money to keep up with the pace and cost of housing needs. And that's no different from any other city, any other place right now. Everyone is feeling that pain. Everyone is dealing with the housing issue the best way they can and trying to find solutions to address it. This legislation is just that, because what we are winning, which we didn't have in the previous legislation, are those direct funds coming from the developers that are going to be directly pushed into these programmings that we're saying that we need. If we're saying that we need 3, 4 bedroom units, $50,000 to $250,000 within a short period of time could go a very long way to start addressing that problem, and that's real. That can also go towards housing evictions. When housing costs are going up so much right now, private homeowners, landlords, are still going to continue to raise their rents. That is unfair to residents still. And there's more residents living in private homes than it is in developments right now. So we still are not even addressing the bigger problem of our residents' needs, because they're having issues with repair and maintenance needs. They come to the council speaking about this all the time, and we don't have anything for them because we don't have any funds. And each year during our budget season, we fight and fight and fight to try to put money into these things, and we're trying. But the reality is we don't have enough money, we don't have enough funds. So where do we get that from? The reality is we're going to take it from those developers, we're going to put it in the areas that we need, and we're going to make a system that supports the people who need it the most. And that's what this legislation does. And that's why I'm supporting it this evening, because it's wins that we have to focus on. It's the small wins that are going to go a long way. Rather than focusing on the negative, the back and forth, the politics of it, this is direct money that's going to be going to people. And that's why I'm supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Farrell?
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank each of my colleagues for their thoughts this evening. It's an important discussion that we have, and I'd also really like to thank Councilmember Valorant, not just for his leadership on this issue, but for kind of going through that historic process, because I think that that is something that is incredibly important to remember, especially what was happening in December, because realistically, we almost ended up with something that would not have been a great benefit for this people in the city of Albany. And even as we were at the very end degree, trying to come up with some sort of compromise in December, even the compromise that we're talking about is not as good as the legislation that we have right now. When we create laws, we create them with the first thing in mind of how we can help the people in our constituency and how we can benefit them. And the real answer to that is there's a lot of different ways and a lot of different needs that need to be met. There's not one simple answer or even one simple question. So I am a firm believer in inclusionary zoning. I believed in the legislation that we've had, and I believe in it moving forward. I think it is an important part of development in the city, and I am very happy that we still have something to move forward with. But I also think development is very important for our city. Sensible development, not development that just happens, but development and growth are important. They're part of what puts money and success into an area. And we want that happening in every single neighborhood in all different ways. One of the really important parts of this legislation that I am incredibly pleased with is that there's actually oversight and accountability measures and data collection. Those things will give us the tools to make better legislation in the future. Because one of the big issues that we were dealing with as we were going around with it is that there were so many unknowns. And so it was hard to counter when somebody pushed back about this is the cause of this. We didn't have good data to push back on things, and we also didn't know exactly how well it was doing. These accountability measures and this oversight, that can really make a difference, and that's something that can lead to really good legislation that will make a huge difference in the future, because it can say, look, when you're at this level, they could actually go a lot further. Maybe we can try a different way. There was somebody brought up different ideas of if you had more affordability, maybe you'd be able to do something differently. With that data, they could actually point out and say, in this sector, you could do that and it would work. But you can't do it without the data. And you also would know the accountability measures also matter. We would hear a lot from developers that would actually follow the rules and would talk about some of the issues. What happens if we have somebody that is renting an apartment at the right income level and they get a raise? Do I have to kick them out? Things like that. We don't have good questions for that. But those are the developers that are actually trying to follow the rules. What about the ones that are not? Because there's all sorts of different people in this world. So having actual accountability measures will allow us to see the real success of development across the city. And it's also going to just help us know what's working, what's not working, and really lead us in, I think, a great direction in the future. And I think my colleagues have already spoken about the importance of something that can be done with additional funds. I mean, we all always need additional revenue. To have additional revenue that is there to support people in need in housing, whether it's tenants or even first-time home buyers, that is a good thing. So I'm very pleased to support this, and I'm grateful for every single voice that's been part of this conversation, because one of the most important conversations that we can have is housing. But it's also one of the most complicated ones because there's so many different pieces to it, and there's so many different right answers that you don't know whether they're right or wrong yet, because you kind of have to dive in first. So thank you very much, and I look forward to supporting this.
Thank you, Ms. Farrell. Mr. Nani?
Thank you, Mr. President. As many of you know, I was a staunch defender of the 2023 changes to the inclusionary zoning. At a time where we saw record luxury high-end development, working families were still being priced out of the city as rent continued to rise. This council acted to ensure that a meaningful share of new development included affordable housing. Now, I acknowledge that during that time, while well-intentioned, the policy was not perfect. The data shows that although affordable housing production remained steady, market rate development declined. If we are serious about addressing our housing shortage, we need more housing for all types. That goes for affordable housing, low middle income housing, and luxury housing. That is why I supported this amendment. I do have serious concerns about allowing developers to opt out of building affordable units in exchange for relatively a modest fee. But I recognize that those funds will be reinvested into programs that help working families achieve homeownership and address rental emergencies. This legislation is not perfect, and like any legislation that I've talked about, particularly in the past, we should not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. But compromise is rare. It reflects difficult negotiation that produce a framework that can move us forward. As our city prepares for significant state investment and opportunity to catalyze private development on a scale that has never been seen, perhaps since the Erie Canal, we need a housing policy that can keep pace. For those reasons, I urge my colleagues to support these amendments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nani. Okay, back to the sponsor. Mr. Ballard.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. So I just want to say two quick things, and I'll allow for us to move forward. First, I want us to really get an understanding that for all of those who are here today, that it's because of your efforts and of your fighting back in December that we have these numbers that we have in front of us. And I know it's not what numbers that you want to hear, but I'm going to share these numbers very clearly. So we went from a AMI of 100, which made the affordable units between 2,000 and 2,200, to 70%, which makes the affordable units between 1,400 and 1,500. So that's significant. That's significant change. And as well as on the buyout. Let's talk about the buyout and what it can do, and there was great potential there. But we went from 10,000 to 50,000. So the reason there is a larger number on the table, and the reason there'll be any more potential significant change, is because of the effort and the work by all of those who said no to that prior proposal. So I want people to take residue of that. And I also want people to understand that, one, we were fortunate that it didn't come through on December 29th. But two, we were fortunate that the new mayor didn't just pick up the old bill and ram it through. We're fortunate that she brought everybody together and was willing to have these tough, uncomfortable conversations, especially as someone who actually sponsored the original inclusionary housing bill from the get-go in 2017. So I know those conversations, they weren't easy for me, they weren't easy for anyone in the room, but I'm also sure they weren't easy for her. So I want to end with that, because this is better than where we were. It's not perfect, doesn't feel good, but it's better than when we were, what we were looking at. And it allows us to be on a stable path to move forward. So I just wanted to end with that, and thank everybody again.
Thank you, Mr. Vallerin. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Adams.
Yes, co-sponsor.
Anani.
Yes, co-sponsor.
Vallerin.
Yes.
Brody.
Yes.
Farrell.
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Flynn.
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Hoey.
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Johnson.
No.
Jones.
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Keegan.
Yes.
Lumpkin.
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Powell.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Williamson.
Yes, co-sponsors, please.
Zamer.
Yes.
14 in the affirmative, 1 no.
The motion passes. Mrs. Farrell.
The rest of the ordinances are held.
Okay, moving into our resolutions, I'd like to note that earlier we took Mr. Johnson's resolution 2942, 26 out of order, and we are holding that to a future meeting. Okay, so with that, Mr. Lumpkin. Thank you, Mr. Lumpkin. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution.
A resolution of the Common Council honoring the life and legacy of Mother Clara Lumpkin and renaming a portion of South Swan in her honor.
Ms. Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. That resolution will go to General Services.
Thank you. Okay, next, Mr. Anani. Mr. Anani?
Sorry. Thank you. I noticed resolution 314226R and ask for its introduction and passage.
That was 30, correct?
Correct.
31.
No, 31. excuse me.
31.
31. Sorry about that. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution.
A resolution of the Common Council declaring April 22nd to be Earth Day in the city of Albany and commemorating the 56th anniversary of Earth Day.
Discussion.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. This legislation that we've been passing kind of reminding our residents to be environmentally conscious. Today, as we recognize Earth Day, we reaffirm our shared responsibility to protect and sustain our environment. This resolution is more than symbolic. It reflects our commitment to cleaner air, safer water, and a healthier future for all. We must continue taking meaningful steps towards sustainability while ensuring environmental justice remains at the forefront so every community benefits equally. I'm proud to support this resolution, and I want to stand with our commitment in building a greener, more resilient future. I also want to thank all my colleagues for supporting this legislation as well.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, you're all co-sponsors on this, so we'll go with a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Next, Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Resolution 324226R. I ask to be introduced and read, please.
Thank you, Mr. Williamson. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution.
A resolution of the Common Council honoring the life and legacy of Reverend Reginald E. Graham and renaming a portion of 2nd Ave in his honor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ms. Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. That resolution will go to General Services.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Anani.
Thank you, Mr. President. I notice resolution 334226R and ask for its introduction.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution.
A resolution of the Common Council authorizing the City of Albany to adopt a policy related to the disposal of computers, computer software, and computer equipment.
Thank you, Ms. Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. That resolution will go to General Services.
Okay. Ms. Farrell. For the rest,
The rest of the resolution.
Yeah.
The
Okay. Thank you.
rest of
So,
the resolutions will be held.
thank you. Okay. So, any miscellaneous? Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, I'm gonna be quick, but the summer months are coming, and I would hope that as the electeds of the Common Council, that we, and not to knock APD, but expect a presence in some of the hot spots throughout the city. I think sometimes as a city, it looks like we are reactionary to the incidents, and then we try to have a presence. So, I'm calling on APD to have a game plan to be more vigilant, just to be seen, because I'm still under the understanding that, when police are present, they have a effect on crime. So I would hope that we don't take the same approach that we took last year and not rely off of SNUG. SNUG is not a neighborhood program. SNUG is a program is designed by the state, and the difference between SNUG and the movement team. The movement team is directly, and the movement team is one of the parts of Baltimore that was discussed. The movement team is made up of people that are directly from that community. There's no outsiders in that movement team, and I think that this is the stuff that makes the goal that we are attempting to reach possible because of the steps that they have taken. So I just hope that the ask is not, received as finger pointing. They're here to protect and serve, and I think that being present and another thing that I want to say to APD is thank you for bringing Milton Johnson back to the city. So that's what I would like to say today.
Mr. Robinson.
Yeah, I just got some short comments, I'd just like to thank all my colleagues for moving the Violence Prevention Task Force to the mayor's office. Like my colleague just said, it's going to be a long, hot summer. That's only one tool in our toolbox. But we have to work together to make sure we do our best to give the mayor all the support she needs to address the violence in our city. And thank you again.
Thank you. And I would like to, from leadership to Mr. Hoey, as Public Safety Chair, can you take care of that Swan Street complaint for us with APD, the woman
Absolutely.
talked about
I'll take care of that tonight.
Swan? So,
Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional? Seeing none?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.